Today, we are seeing 20 mountain seeds for Minecraft 1.18. I'm recording this in Java Edition, so know that in Bedrock, the terrain will be the same, but structures will not be. If you want to know whenever I share more Minecraft seeds, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Alright, roll that intro. Let's go ahead and start off with this seed that has a spawn inside of a birch forest that is right on the edge of a mountain. You can see that the birch forest is pretty big with a big frozen peaks mountain and a smaller jagged peaks mountain around it. The frozen peaks are pretty awesome looking and they surround a section of grove, which I think is pretty awesome too. Within the grove in frozen peaks is this big cave opening, so you get a nice easy access point to a dripstone cave here. Now, let's check out this seed with some awesome Mesa mountains. This seed was originally posted to the Minecraft Seeds subreddit. You can see that nothing at spawn is visible except for the Mesa biome. The flat section of Mesa is nearly fully surrounded by sections of big Mesa mountains peaking high into the sky. Within the flat portion of the Mesa, you can find this cave opening. You don't want to fall in because it goes pretty deep, but it's awesome knowing that it is here, but probably not as awesome as those mountains. Pretty beautiful seed. I'm going to call this seed the Dripstone mountain seed. You spawn into the world on the edge of this Jagged Peaks mountain. You can find a collection of a bunch of different biomes around you. Throughout the mountain, you can find a bunch of openings and sections of dripstone caves. That includes this area on the mountainside and this area on top of the mountain. Also atop the mountain is this pillager outpost. Seeing an outpost generate at this height is pretty cool, especially with the different elevations of the various structures. In this seed, we have a huge mountain on the edge of a taiga biome. To be specific, it's a Jagged Peaks mountain, and well, it just looks incredible. At least in my opinion, it does. That spawn mountain goes along with some other beautiful sections of mountains in this spawn area. At the bottom of the mountain and stretching towards the mountain is a taiga village. I love how this path stretches up the side of the mountain, eventually leading to this building up here. In this seed, we spawn within a sparse jungle. There's a bamboo jungle nearby too. Of course, we're also on the edge of these Stony Peaks mountains. At the top, a little circular section of jungle biome is formed. Within that small jungle is a temple. Pretty incredible location for this to generate. Of course, that jungle temple comes with not just one exposed chest, but also a hidden chest inside. On the edge of the Stony Peaks, you can find a lush cave opening. So that's a nice little addition to this seed, I'd say. There's also a village near spawn too. It's a blacksmith village, so you get that blacksmith loot. This building generating down here in the water is pretty cool. What an incredible spawn within this seed. This is a seed that I've featured before, but it's incredible, so I want to share it again. It was originally shared to Reddit by Zero Control. You spawn into the world within these mountains, and traveling through them will bring you to this forest area surrounded by the mountains. That's where you'll find my favorite part of this seed, this massive crater. It's just a huge hole forming in the ground inside of the mountain. And it's a dripstone cave too, pretty awesome. Inside of the jungle in this seed, you can find this beautiful lake location. I mean, the tall jungle cliffs surrounding this lake just looks incredible. I love this spot. If you want to learn more and see a couple more locations in this seed, check out my top 10 1.18.1 seeds video. Next up, let's look at a pretty amazing forest and frozen peak seed. The spawn is in a grove, which is right on the edge of the frozen peaks. Those mountains fully surround a forest biome. I could see this forest being cleared out and having a base inside of this mountain range. There are also some pretty incredible looking jagged peaks nearby too, and that's where you find this ruined portal. A pretty unique place for this portal to generate with it covered in snow. But the real reason for showing these jagged peaks is the openings it has to the lush caves. I'll show you and give coordinates to my favorite section of lush cave here. Now we have a seed with, simply put, some big mountains. The mountains are jagged peaks and they generate near this pretty nice looking ocean bay area and some jungle cliffs. Just how tall are these mountains? Well, the tallest peak at this one block is at Y level 256, which I think is the highest a peak can naturally generate. That's compared to the water level, which is at level 62, and the build height limit, for reference, is at 320. Here we have a seed that I'll be calling Savanna Peaks. The first thing you notice when you spawn in is a mesa biome, and you'll see the mesa stretches up as a mountain. There are also some more mesa mountains nearby. Also, check out this place in the ocean. It looks awesome. But we're calling it a Savanna Peaks because that spawn mountain mostly stretches into a savanna biome. You can see the savanna biome stretches up the mountain until it reaches the stony peaks. Now let's check out a cold biome seed. What you see when you spawn at the world is a lot of snow and ice spikes. Well, it's certainly a cold looking seed, as look at all of these snowy mountains. And it's on the edge of a frozen ocean, which adds to that atmosphere. The cliffs forming on the edge of the ocean look absolutely incredible. The ice going down the side of the cliffs is really cool. It just doesn't get much better than this. Oh, and of course, having the ice spikes generate along the edge of the mountain just cap it all off. Getting into the final 10 seeds, we have this seed with a circular or ring mountain range. But before getting to that, let me just mention that outside of the mountains here could be a good spot to build right at spawn. Inside of that mountain ring, we've got a meadow biome and a dark forest biome. These types of mountain ranges are always some of the best to find within a world. You can also find this ravine cave opening. It leads right down to a dripstone cave and a mine shaft. It's always fun finding a mine shaft, but having it exposed and near a dripstone cave is especially fun. Underneath the dark forest is a lush cave, so you can easily find both cave types near spawn in this seed. And finally, on the edge of the mountains, you can find a plains village. It's right nearby that spawn building spot, and it has a nice view of those stony peaks mountains. In this next seed, we spawned into the world between some snowy slopes and a flower forest. Right ahead of you, you can see a nice big plains biome. The mountains could act as a nice natural barrier for a spawn build here. And you can build through this little valley between the two mountain ranges as the plain extends through it. The flower forest here stretches around much of those mountains, so that kind of gives these mountains a unique look. I want to travel over to this village here too, just to show you how cool this area looks. Another cool building location, and it's right near this ravine too that leads down to a dripstone cave, so that adds to how cool this location is overall. This is definitely a seed I'd recommend to people who are looking for a nice looking mountain building seed. Next up, we have a pretty cool jungle and mesa seed. As you see, you spawn into this bamboo jungle and ahead of you is an ocean. There are actually some pretty incredible cliffs on the edge of the ocean. These sections of both the jungle cliffs and mesa cliffs just look amazing, especially with the mountain in the background. The ocean itself has a coral reef. That adds to how beautiful of a seed this is at spawn. As for the mountains, you can see that they are stony peaks. I think the look of stony peaks really fits the jungle. The gray peeking out from the green looks awesome. You can find this lush cave opening within the mountains. It leads down to this decently sized cave here, and the whole cave system stretches a pretty big distance overall. You can also find this dripstone area within the mountains. It's just a massive dripstone crater. It looks really cool. And finally, there's this village here. It generates on the edge of one of the mountains. The village actually generates between the jungle and a savanna within a small plains. Pretty cool seed here, I think. Now we have a seed that spawns you in some snowy slopes that lead up to jagged peaks. Towards the north, you can see an ocean, and along that ocean is some cliffs. I mean, this is what Minecraft 1.18 is all about, caves and cliffs. On the other side of the mountain, you can find a plains biome and another mountain. Here is the final jungle focused seed in this video. It also happens to be another mountain ring type seed. This time we spawn on the inside of said ring. There's about half a jungle and half a forest surrounded fully by Stony Peaks mountains. Within the mountains generate sections of Dripstone caves, and that includes this spot here. It's just a really big opening in the mountains with the Dripstone throughout. Outside of the jungle mountains, you can find a Mesa biome nearby. I really like the Mesa peaks, they just look amazing. There's a jungle temple nearby, which gives you a great view of those Mesa peaks. You also get a cool view of some mountains. And of course, there is the temple loot inside too, with 2 chests. Finally, I just wanted to point out this location. This is a jungle temple village. The temple sits right on the outside of the plains village, and again, a nice place to loot with the chests inside of the temple. This is one of my favorite 1.18 seeds that I've found. Getting into the final 5 seeds here, we have another big one. And when I say that, I mean a big mountain. Frozen peaks to be exact. These frozen peaks go very high into the sky, and they stretch far as a mountain range and could be a great background to a spawn city in these plains too. On the edge of the mountain, you can find this village. I just think it's always cool seeing villages stretch up the side of mountains. There's also an igloo on the mountainside. It really blends right in with the snow. And yes, it does have a zombie villager tutorial dungeon underneath. Next, we have a pretty interesting seed here. At least in my opinion, it's an interesting seed. I mean, let's start off by showing these Dripstone mountains. I mean, how incredible do these look? I'd say pretty incredible. If we look at the map, you can see that little orange spot, and that's a Mesa biome. It's pretty darn small for being its own biome. And I mean, it looks incredible. I just love the look of Mesa peaks like this, as I mentioned in seed number 6. On the other side of the Mesa, you can find this awesome location. There's a ruined portal right on the outside of a village, and you get a nice look at that Mesa here. One more place worth checking out in this seed is here. We've got a mountain ring here with a pillager outpost on the inside of it. One of the great places in this seed, I'd say. You can find a jungle temple on the outside of those mountains. It's in the valley between these 2 mountain ranges. Inside of the temple, you get 2 chests, of course. As I said at the start, definitely an interesting seed. Entering the final 3 seeds, we have the only seed in this video that doesn't directly spawn you on the edge of the mountain, I'm pretty sure. But that's for good reason, and we'll get to that. You see, the spawn is inside of a plains biome. There is some elevated terrain around the area, and a village to the southwest. It's a pretty big village on the edge of a hill and partly in some water. Now to the southeast is what I really wanted to show you here. This area has almost everything. We've got the mountains, a mansion, a ruined portal, and a village. I mean, it's not often we see all 3 of these structures generate so close to each other. Then we throw in the fact that they are within this mountain. I mean, come on, how cool is that? Oh, I should mention that there are some sections of lush cave underneath this mountain too. That includes this spot, which gives you a surface cave entrance right to it. And this area here, which is actually a lush and dripstone cave in the same location. That's pretty incredible. Finally, I just wanted to show you this little area in the seed. A windswept savanna meets a swamp biome, and this happens. Just thought it was kind of cool and wanted to share it. This seed is just incredible. I've mentioned multiple times that I like what I'm calling Mesa Peaks. So let's go ahead and see a Mesa Peak seed for this one. This one is a little different though, because those mesa peaks are connected to stone peaks. It ends up forming a bit of a mountain ring in its own sense. Within the Mesa Mountains, you can find this cave opening. It actually has a Mesa mine shaft and a dripstone cave. I think this is the first time I've seen this. Pretty cool. Finally, I want to show you one more mountain ring. This one, again, features the stony peaks and mesa peaks. These stony peaks are in a savanna. Again, awesome seeing some mountain peaks. Finally, to finish off this video, we have a seed that is unique without a doubt. How could we not end off the video with one of those spectacular mountain rings? This one has some jagged peaks with sections of groves surrounding a meadow, dark forest, and forest. Enclosed by the mountains is an abandoned zombie village. I mean, finding the rare village near spawn is one thing, but finding it generate in this type of spawn, just wonderful. In the middle of the meadow, there is a bit of a dip, and it has a cave opening. That opening leads into a dripstone cave, so that's great. You can just add in the new cave type to this already incredible spawn area. And then there's this cave opening with water running into it. It leads right into a lush cave. The water actually flows quite far down the cave. Finally, on the outside of the mountains, you can find this woodland mansion. You can see the back of the mansion right up against the mountain. Inside of the mountain, on the bottom floor, check this out. Since this generates in a lush cave, these glowberry vines generated here. Welcome to Minecraft's world generation. But yeah, this seed has so many awesome things in it. Well, there you have 20 mountain seeds that are working for the 1.18 version of Minecraft. The terrain will probably be the same in Bedrock Edition, but the structures won't be. Be sure to check out my blog for all of the coordinates and information about the seeds in this video. If you want to help me out, leave a like on this video. For more Minecraft videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out of here. See ya.